In the 6th year of my love with Marcus, his first love Vivian returned to the country with much fanfare, and the first thing she did was abduct me. I escaped from the hideout, covered in wounds, and called him, but he just sneered. Haven't you had enough of playing for attention? At that moment, I realized that the man I loved had personally dragged me into hell. That night, after escaping back to the city, I huddled in a dark alley, ignoring the wounds and pus on my body. I desperately ate the spoiled food from the trash bins. I was so hungry. All I wanted was to live to see Marcus. Several men in black suddenly rushed out of the crowd, frightened. I clutched the rotten food and shuffled backward, then looked up to see a familiar car. Marcus sat inside, eyeing me coldly. The men in black dragged me before him. Marcus smoothly withdrew his gaze, his voice icy. "Ivy, you finally decided to come back." Yes, I finally came back, but it wasn't easy. When I was abducted, I called Marcus asking for the ransom. He just coldly replied, "Haven't you had enough of playing for attention?" Of course. He didn't pay the ransom. That gang of kidnappers ripped off my clothes, and dozens of them assaulted me. At that moment, I realized that in Marcus's eyes, I wasn't even worth a strand of Vivian's hair. I had thought of taking my own life. But I couldn't let go of Marcus. Finally, I escaped, stepping barefoot over scattered gravel and drinking foul, dirty water. Yet when I actually appeared before Marcus, he was utterly indifferent. I lowered my head, my voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry, Mr. Fu. I'm sorry." Marcus's tone was displeased. "You weren't always so timid." My heart felt as if it were pierced by 1,000 needles, the pain making me curl into a ball. "Get in." Marcus's voice was frigid. I pulled open the car door and sat in the back seat. His tone shifted. "Why aren't you sitting in the passenger seat?" I used to always sit there. But when the kidnappers assaulted me, they kept slapping me, screaming, "You're just a bitch. Only can sit in the passenger seat." And they made me repeat it over and over. "I'm just a bitch. Only can sit in the passenger seat. I'm just a bitch. Only can sit in the passenger seat." The physical pain and mental abuse branded those words onto my heart. I whispered timidly, "I'm not worthy. Only can sit in the passenger seat." Marcus glanced at me with disdain, then tossed me a jacket. "Cover up that disgusting smell on you." I huddled, clutching the jacket, and sat beside Marcus without a word. Marcus frowned, glancing at the bruises on my knees. "What happened to your knees? Are you already learning to hook up with other men?" I remained silent, fighting back tears. I knew Marcus wouldn't believe me. Marcus grew furious. "Ivy, so you like kneeling, do you? Fine. Uncle, stop the car." The car door opened, and Marcus shoved me out. "Get out and crawl back behind the car." I didn't dare defy his command. In the hideout, disobeying orders meant being put in a sack and thrown into the water dungeon. It reeked, swarming with mosquitoes and flies. After a while, my skin would become entirely raw and blistered, causing excruciating pain. I knelt on the asphalt road, crawling slowly behind Marcus's car. Did it hurt? No. My knees had long since grown a thick layer of calluses. The smooth asphalt road was far more comfortable than glass shards. In the hideout, if I showed even a hint of resistance to those beasts, they would tie my hands and make me kneel on glass shards. After the wounds bled and festered, thick calluses formed. Marcus's luxury car drove slowly ahead, and I followed behind. I don't know how long I crawled, but the calluses on my knees wore away. Distinct bloodstains were left on the dark asphalt road. The car stopped, and a woman appeared before me. It was Vivian. She wore a white dress. Standing directly in front of me, Vivian looked down at me, leaning in to whisper in my ear, "You're assaulted daily. How do you even have the strength to sneak out? Be careful, if you're caught again. They'll make you eat porcelain shards." I trembled with fright after my last failed escape. They poured all the broken porcelain pieces into my stomach, and the fragments tore my esophagus. From then on, I could only consume liquids. Anything slightly solid would rip through my throat. Of course, the kidnappers wouldn't specially prepare liquid food for me. They took turns leaving their excrement in front of me. To survive, I had no choice. She glanced at the bloodstains behind me, her face full of disdain. "You wouldn't want Marcus to see the evidence of your assaults, would you? Do you understand now what happens when you try to steal Marcus from me?" I should have been rational. The culprit who subjected me to inhuman torture was right before me. Nearly half a year of torment had made me despise her. I used all my strength, rushing forward to grab Vivian's throat. Weak as I was, I had no actual strength, but she somehow stumbled and fell, screaming in terror. Marcus heard the commotion and forcefully pulled me away. Vivian lay in Marcus's arms, her face full of remorse. "Ivy, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal Marcus from you." Marcus patiently comforted her, then turned to me, his face grim, and angrily rebuked. "Ivy, you truly never change." I understood all of Vivian's tricks. I wanted to explain, but the more I tried to scream, the more my throat refused to utter a sound. Desperate, my vision blurred, and I collapsed, my head hitting the concrete ground. I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was lying in a bed, remembering how intimate Marcus and Vivian had been before I fainted. My heart burned with resentment. I recalled the day Marcus and I got engaged. Vivian had returned from abroad. H directly left our engagement party to pick her up at the airport. I tried to stop him, but he pulled his hand away, his voice urgent. "I'm sorry, I owe her. I have to repay her." Later, Vivian suddenly fell ill, and Marcus rushed to care for her. I wanted to stop him, to tell him it was all Vivian's scheme, but before I could explain, I was already abducted by people Vivian had arranged. I clenched my hands tightly, my long nails digging into my flesh. Shortly after, the housekeeper came in. He told me that from then on, I would live in the maid's room. I wasn't allowed to leave the room except for meals. I gave a bitter laugh, having thought escaping the hideout would change my life. But now, it was simply confinement in a different place. When it was time to eat, I walked out of the room. Supported by the housekeeper, Marcus was dotingly feeding Vivian with a spoon. I hated it. I was the one who used to share such intimacy with Marcus. When saw me, all the tenderness vanished from his face, and he pointed at me, angrily rebuking. "Ivy, you're quite good at playing the victim, aren't you?" Then he told the housekeeper to release me, ordering me to walk over by myself, but how could I stand? I was like a pile of mud, slowly crawling to the dining table. I desperately tried to sit in a chair, but I had no strength. "Marcus, does Ivy not want to eat with me?" Vivian looked utterly pathetic, her eyes full of grievance. "Bitch, if it weren't for you, how would I have ended up in such a miserable state?" I wanted to curse her, to expose every filthy thing she'd done, but my throat hurt too much to utter a single word. Marcus slammed the table, angrily rebuking me. "So you like being a dog, huh? Uncle, bring the dog bowl." Marcus kicked the dog bowl in front of me. "Eat." I flinched in fear. In the hideout, if I wasted any food, they would jab long needles under my fingernails, an excruciating pain I would never forget. The phantom pain made me feel as though I was in that boundless hell. I lowered my head and forced down a mouthful of dog food. Marcus kicked the dog bowl away, sneering, "You eat dog food with such relish. You really are like a dog." The coarse dog food tore directly through my throat, and I coughed up a large mouthful of fresh blood. Marcus's face was cold, looking down at me. "What trick are you playing now?" I tried to explain, but when I opened my mouth, more blood gushed out. Then my vision went black, and I fainted from the pain. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. A young nurse told me that after Marcus brought me to the hospital, he left with Vivian. Yes, Vivian was always his first priority. During my recovery at the hospital, Marcus never visited me once. On the day I was discharged, the housekeeper picked me up. Vivian was lying in Marcus's arms, her face full of grievance. "It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, Ivy wouldn't have been sold. She was kidnapped for 3 months. She might have contracted some nasty disease." Then interrupted me. "You're a disgrace to the Fu family. How do you still have the face to live in this world? If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago." My heart sank little by little. Vivian's words echoed like a relentless curse. "Marcus, please don't take your anger out on Ivy because of this. She's a victim too." The hatred in my heart intensified. Vivian orchestrated my kidnapping, threatened me over the phone, and now she was putting on her innocent act for Marcus. Marcus's voice was gentle. "This has nothing to do with you. This kidnapping was all Ivy's stage, the whole thing." I clearly saw a triumphant gleam in Vivian's eyes, and Marcus dotingly kissed her forehead. When saw me, her expression stiffened. She then feigned enthusiasm and helped me to the sofa. "Ivy, please, sit down." Her fake demeanor sickened me. Marcus stepped forward and shoved me away, shielding Vivian beside him, his eyes filled with impatience. "Go clean yourself up, you're so filthy. Don't infect Vivian with your nasty disease." Vivian was now Marcus's, the apple of his eye. She couldn't be touched or harmed. Supported by the housekeeper, I went upstairs. As I soaked my dirty, foul-smelling body in hot water, Excruciating pain surged from my wounds. I heard Marcus telling the maid to throw away the sofa I had sat on. Tears streamed down my face like a broken dam, from both the pain and Marcus's disgust. After a long while, the maid knocked, saying Grandma had arrived and was insisting on seeing me. I quickly dried myself and changed into long sleeves and pants so Grandma wouldn't worry. It was Grandma's birthday today. Marcus had just brought her back from the nursing home. The only one in this family who truly cared about me was Marcus's grandmother. She had always sided with me, explicitly stating she didn't like Vivian, but Grandma had suddenly developed dementia before I was kidnapped. As soon as I went downstairs, Grandma was crying, scolding me for being a heartless little girl. She clung tightly to my sleeve, begging me not to run away again. My nose stung, and I squeezed Grandma's hand. "Grandma, I won't leave anymore," Grandma cried out like an infant. "Why are Ivy's hands so rough, so many scars?" I quickly pulled my hand back, forcing a smile and saying I was fine, but said heartbrokenly, "Has someone been bullying you? Grandma will hit them for you." Vivian stood behind Grandma, her face darkening as her gaze lightly fell on me. I flinched, quickly reassuring Grandma with a hoarse voice. "It's nothing, I just fell." Vivian squatted down, trying to charm Grandma. "Grandma, we've been so good to Ivy. And she still ran away from home. She's truly too inconsiderate." Before she could finish, Grandma raised her hand and slapped Vivian hard. "How dare you tell my granddaughter-in-law what to do?" Vivian clutched her burning cheek, her face filled with disbelief. Tears welled up in her eyes. Marcus rushed over, pulled Vivian into his embrace to comfort her, then squatted down. "Grandma, Vivian is your granddaughter-in-law. Who are you, talking nonsense with your eyes wide open? You deserve a slap." Grandma reached out and slapped Marcus. "I'm not so senile that I've forgotten my granddaughter-in-law. Do you believe it'll make my grandson kick you all out?" Seeing agitated, Marcus had no choice but to coax her inside. Then he turned, glaring at me with cold eyes. "If you say another bad word about Vivian to Grandma, you'll be thrown out of this house." Marcus believed I had been slandering Vivian to Grandma, which was why Grandma had always been cold towards her. Grandma's birthday banquet was a grand affair. It had been so long since I'd seen so much delicious food. Grandma kept serving me dishes at the table. "Granddaughter-in-law, eat more, get your strength back, so you can give me a great-grandchild." Vivian's jealousy was practically overflowing from her eyes. She blinked and said with a smile, "Yes, Ivy, you must not have eaten well outside. Eat more." With that, she served me a large bowl of hot soup. I knew she was doing it on purpose. My stomach and intestines were already ulcerated and inflamed from the torment in the hideout. Seeing me hesitate to pick up my chopsticks, Vivian said, smiling sweetly, "Ivy, why aren't you eating?" Marcus frowned. "Don't be ungrateful." I froze, and the memories of my abduction swept over me like a tidal wave. I pushed away the bowl and chopsticks and knelt on the floor with a thud. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'm just a useless piece of trash. I didn't earn back a single penny of the ransom. I don't deserve to eat such good food. I don't even deserve pig slop." I raised my hand, slapping myself hard across the face, one slap after another. Grandma cried out, trying to help me up. Marcus rushed over and grabbed my hand. "What are you doing? Do you know you're scaring Vivian?" Even then, he was still concerned about Vivian. As if to confirm his words, the bowl in Vivian's hand clattered to the floor, porcelain shards scattered around her feet, and my mind instantly replayed the pain of glass shards piercing my feet during my escape. I broke free from Marcus's grasp, curled up in the corner, waving my hands frantically in the air, repeating, "Please, let me out. I want to go home. I want to see Marcus." Grandma frantically spun around, wailing, "Blood. There's blood." I looked down, and pus and blood were oozing through my clothes. Marcus asked me, his voice filled with doubt, "What's going on?" He then reached out to help me up. Vivian suddenly cried out, "Marcus, I'm hurt." Her ankle had a shallow cut from a shard. Marcus immediately pushed me away and rushed to Vivian, scooping her into his arms, anxiously asking if she was all right. I fell heavily to the floor again. Vivian's face was full of self-reproach. "I'm sorry. I was just too careless, Marcus. You should go take care of Ivy." Her eyes were filled with the look of a victor. Back when I was held captive by the kidnappers, Marcus hadn't abandoned Vivian. Now that I was passively slumped in the Fu family mansion, why would he care about me? Marcus's face darkened. "Ivy, Will you only stop when you've completely terrified Vivian? Grandma slapped her thigh in distress. My granddaughter-in-law has definitely been bullied. Get a doctor. Get a doctor. Marcus snorted coldly. Grandma, don't let her fool you. She's just putting on a show for us. She even pushed you last time. You might have forgotten. But we haven't. No, I didn't push her. It was Vivian. I tried desperately to tell the truth of that moment enough. If hadn't interceded for you, I wouldn't have taken you in at all. Not only are you ungrateful to Vivian, but you're also repaying kindness with malice. Marcus growled, scolding me roughly. It was clearly Vivian who, jealous of Grandma's affection for me, became resentful and pushed Grandma down the stairs, then manipulated Marcus into believing I was the one who did it. Grandma had developed dementia ever since. Marcus's treatment of me had also worsened. Vivian pulled him, saying, Marcus, stop talking. Ivy just got back. Don't scare her. Watching the two of them flirt, I felt a wave of powerlessness. No matter how much I explained, it could never outweigh Vivian's single word that night. I suddenly developed a fever. The sudden high fever left me feeling disoriented. In the hideout, I had to endure any illness on my own. The kidnappers wouldn't even give me a single pill, no matter how severe the sickness. Several kidnappers even specifically chose to assault me when I was sick with a fever. They seemed to enjoy it more, saying, "So warm, it'd be great if you stayed feverish." My body was burning red, my throat was choked, and I was posed in various ways. I screamed, struggling violently, "Don't touch me. It's disgusting." A male voice suddenly sounded. My head was spinning from the fever, and I couldn't make out what he was saying. I just felt him merge with the group of kidnappers. My hands were firmly held down. I couldn't break free, crying. I mumbled, "Please, let me go. I won't try to take Marcus away anymore." A pair of large hands violently shook me. I slowly opened my eyes. Marcus was clutching my hand, shouting anxiously, "What are you saying? What's wrong with you? It hurts. I hurt so much. Don't touch me." Still trapped in my memories, I used all my strength to kick him away. Realizing what I'd done, I immediately apologized. "I'm sorry, Mr. Fu. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." Okay. I won't touch you." Marcus, startled, stepped back repeatedly and called the family doctor. My nerves were taut. Still immersed in that feverish night, I couldn't bear to be touched by strange men. I resisted constantly. Marcus called the housekeeper to hold me down. I cried for help, growing weaker and weaker. Before I fainted, I heard a muffled voice. "Condition is very bad. Must go to the hospital immediately." When I opened my eyes again, I was already in the hospital. I lay dazed for a long time before realizing I had an IV drip in my arm, and a large hand was holding the back of my hand. It was Marcus. I reflexively pulled my hand away. He looked as if he hadn't slept for days. The moment I stirred, he woke up. Marcus had heavy dark circles under his eyes, and his face was drawn. Seeing me awake, he was overjoyed. He immediately pressed the call button. "Doctor, she's awake." A crowd of doctors surrounded me, asking about my well-being. I tried to shrink further into the covers, avoiding their gazes. Marcus looked at me with a face full of heartache. Why was he looking at me like that? Didn't he hate me? Didn't he want me dead? The doctors pulled Marcus aside and whispered, "Ms. Ma's condition is not optimistic. Her cardiopulmonary function is severely damaged, and her uterus is also injured. She no longer has the ability to conceive children." Marcus's eyes were filled with anguish. "Ivy, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had suffered so many injuries." Vivian burst into the room. "Ivy, how can you be so indiscreet? The doctor said you've been drinking strong liquor recently, which caused stomach bleeding, and also, your genitals are all ruined. It must be from your reckless behavior during my captivity. Those devils force-fed me entire bottles of strong liquor, then assaulted me repeatedly. Why did my torment and suffering become indiscretion when she spoke of it?" A flicker of disgust appeared in Marcus's eyes. I wanted to explain, "It's not like that. These injuries are all from the kidnappers." Vivian interrupted me again. "You're a disgrace to the Fu family. How do you still have the face to live in this world? If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago." My heart sank little by little. Vivian's words echoed like a relentless curse. Vivian clung to Marcus's arm, saying sweetly, "Marcus, if I had known Ivy was so indiscreet, I definitely wouldn't have asked you to take her in. Let's just stop bothering with her from now on, okay?" The disgust in Marcus's eyes intensified. I panicked. If threw me out, I would surely be dragged back to the hideout to endure endless torture enough. Marcus sharply rebuked Vivian. Disbelief flashed in Vivian's eyes, and her voice trembled. "You're yelling at me. You're yelling at me for this tramp." Marcus's gaze was icy. "I will investigate this thoroughly." With that, he turned and left. Vivian was trembling with rage. She shot me a venomous glare. "I'll definitely get you back." Then she slammed the door and stormed out. For the next few days, Marcus didn't appear again. Only the housekeeper and maid took turns caring for me at the hospital. They told me Marcus hadn't put his phone down these past few days, staying out all night. I didn't care what he was busy with. After these few days of undisturbed peace, I gradually emerged from the gloom, and my body slowly recovered. Then, that afternoon, I suddenly received a text message from Marcus. "I've investigated thoroughly." Vivian pushed Grandma. "I'm sorry." I calmly turned off my phone. I had suffered enough humiliation in that house. Stripped of my fiancé status, kidnapped, and tortured. I didn't care for his apology. I just wanted to leave that house, live a normal life, and have my own future. That night, I went to bed early. In my sleep, I vaguely heard rapid footsteps stop outside my door. I instantly woke up, the moment the hospital room door opened. I hid behind the curtains. The footsteps grew closer and closer. Finally stopping by my bed, a sinister voice whispered, "Boss, did this broad escape?" "Impossible, keep looking." I quickly covered my mouth to muffle my cries. The fear in my heart was ripped out, engulfing my entire body. My body trembled uncontrollably and cold sweat broke out on my back. I would recognize those voices even if they turned to ash. They belonged to the very kidnappers who had tormented me day and night. I endured as they ransacked the hospital room, my heart in my throat. Suddenly, it went quiet outside. A hand abruptly grabbed the curtain and yanked it open. 3 kidnappers reached out to seize me. Startled, I stumbled backward and fell out the window. As my eyelids grew heavy, I lost consciousness. I slept for a very long time. When I was woken by Marcus and the doctor talking, my head was still spinning. I heard Marcus ask the doctor, "Ivy has been asleep for half a month now. When will she wake up?" Half a month? I had slept for so long. I desperately tried to open my eyes, but my eyelids felt sewn shut. I couldn't open them at all. The doctor's voice spoke then. "Mr. Fu, I'm sorry, Ms. Ma's condition is very poor, her brain is severely damaged, and the chances of her waking up are almost zero." What did that mean? Had I become a vegetable? I struggled desperately, wanting to clarify. But my mouth wouldn't open. It was as if I was trapped in a cage, with nothing but hearing and touch left. I had survived, but unfortunately, I would spend the rest of my life confined to a bed. Fear instantly washed away all my reason. At that moment, I truly understood what it meant to be worse than dead. After the doctor finished speaking, he turned and left. Marcus stood rooted to the spot, silent for a long time. At that moment, the door opened, and Vivian's timid voice sounded, "Marcus, I heard the doctor say Ivy will never wake up. Maybe we should have her euthanized." "Shut up." Marcus sharply interrupted her. "Get out. Don't disturb Ivy's rest." The air suddenly froze, and Vivian's soft sobs filled the room. She said nothing more, obediently turned, and left. Marcus actually got angry at Vivian. I heard Marcus sit by my bedside, speaking softly. "Ivy, you've suffered. I will never allow anyone to bully you again." I never imagined Marcus could be so caring. He personally cleaned me, turned me over, and massaged me. His movements were gentle and thorough, however. He didn't say much to me. That was natural, because for the past 10+ years, whenever we were together, I was the one chattering away. He was usually silent. That night, Grandma came to see me. She held my hand and cried for several hours. After saw Grandma off, he said he would definitely investigate the truth of my kidnapping. Vivian came to my hospital room every day. Not only would she bring Marcus her homemade meals, but she would also pretend to care for me. But for some reason, I felt Marcus and she were communicating less and less. Vivian also noticed Marcus's change, and she grew anxious. She had never imagined I would escape from the kidnappers repeatedly, nor had she expected Marcus to care about me so much. Finally, she decided to make her move against me. For several consecutive days, it rained incessantly, and the temperature dropped sharply. Marcus, who had been taking care of me in the room, caught a cold. To avoid infecting me, he slept in the hospital hallway. That night, Marcus was on watch outside. In the middle of the night, I heard someone tiptoeing in, perhaps was asleep. As he didn't notice someone entering the room, I felt her gaze on me, and then she grabbed the pillow next to me and pressed it forcefully onto my face. Suffocation washed over me. My lungs felt like they were about to burst. In my mind, I cursed that vicious person endlessly. I was in so much pain. Just as I was about to lose consciousness, Marcus's voice echoed from a distance. "Vivian, what are you doing?" The next second, the pillow was lifted from my face. Fresh air instantly rushed into my nostrils, and I breathed it in greedily. Vivian stammered an explanation. I just saw a bug on Ivy's face. I was helping her swat it. Enough. Marcus's voice was full of displeasure. "Leave. I don't want to see you again. Vivian." "Marcus, get out, or I'm calling the police." Vivian said nothing more and fled in a panic. My heart instantly turned cold. Marcus knew Vivian was trying to kill me, but he still let her go. Marcus walked over to me and gently kissed my forehead. "Ivy, I promise I will cure you." Soon after, I was woken by crying outside the door. Vivian sobbed. "Marcus, our wedding is the day after tomorrow. It will still happen on time, right?" I could tell she desperately wanted to marry Marcus, to become Mrs. Fu quickly. Marcus was silent for a long time. "I've had the housekeeper cancel the wedding. We're breaking up. Didn't you say you'd stay by my side forever? And now, for this vegetable, you're breaking your promise." Vivian shrieked, her voice shrill. Marcus sharply interrupted. "Enough. Do you really think I don't know about your underhanded dealings?" "Marcus, what are you talking about?" "I don't understand," I sneered. Vivian was quite good at playing dumb. "You were the one who kidnapped Ivy." "Vivian, how could you be so vicious?" Vivian plopped to her knees, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Marcus. I love you too much. I just didn't want to see any other woman close to you. Please, marry me." Marcus's voice was frigid. "You're truly depraved. Get out. If I see you again, I'm calling the police." "You'll be rotting in jail." Vivian ran out, sobbing. I scoffed internally. So knew Vivian had kidnapped me, that she had subjected me to inhuman torture, yet still let her go. Why? I felt as though I'd plunged into an ice cave, wanting nothing more than to slap Marcus right then and there. Marcus walked over and gently held my hand. "Ivy, I've found the best doctor in the United. You'll have surgery in half a month, and you'll wake up." In the following days, Marcus cared for me meticulously. On the day of the surgery, Marcus gently kissed my cheek. "Ivy, you'll be well soon." When I woke up again, I could move. The doctor told me that Marcus and I had exchanged our frontal lobes. He also said that Marcus had become a vegetable and would never wake up. I silently committed this to memory. That night, I secretly crept into Marcus's hospital room, gazing at the weak Marcus in the bed. I trembled with excitement. Finally, I had my chance for personal revenge. If hadn't indulged Vivian again and again, how would I have been raped by kidnappers? How would I have endured such inhuman torture? The hatred in my heart drove me to pull out his life support. He suddenly opened his eyes, staring intently at me, his whole body convulsing. Then his heart stopped. The next day, when the doctors carried his body out, I sobbed uncontrollably. The onlookers, patients' families, all offered their condolences. Soon after, I was discharged from the hospital. The housekeeper gave me all the evidence of Vivian's kidnapping of me, telling me Marcus had specifically instructed him to. Looking at the evidence in my hand, the hatred in my heart was inexpressible. I immediately called the police and submitted the evidence. Vivian and the kidnappers were all sentenced to death, and I, along with Grandma, left the mansion and started a new life in a different city.